Hello, you beautiful people. This is Your Story's Not Over, You're Still Writing It, with your host, me, Erin. So today I want to talk about not forcing. I know I've mentioned it before, but let's start off with this fact. I heard someone say today that the best relationships are two happy people building on more happiness because they have the confidence and self-love and they're striving, they're going somewhere. They're happy. They're satisfied. They're no longer on their search. So what happens whenever you have a relationship? And remember, we've talked about this before. A relationship is not necessarily a romantic one. The relationship foundations across the board are the same. It's the emotion that comes along with it that creates a romance. Anyway, when you have a relationship and in that relationship, your friend is desperate or whatever, friend, whatever they are. I always mess up like that, y'all. Everybody does. If you don't, you say you don't, you ain't being genuine and you got to be genuine. But anyway, so let's say this person that you love a lot, they are refusing change. And so you're trying to push them. They have that I am who I am, accept it or leave it attitude. And you try to push them. What you're doing is you're putting a hold on their growth and creating resentment. So let me explain what I mean. When somebody is in the mentality, the mindset of I am who I am, accept it or leave it, that person is being closed minded. They're being closed minded to growth. And so when you're pushing somebody that's closed minded to growth, because only we can change, only we can make that decision, nobody else can for us, then you're going to cause a friction. And that friction's going to build and build. And there's going to be a lot of animosity because you're trying to force somebody to do something in life they're not ready. And if they're not ready, they're going to fail. Did you catch that? If somebody's not ready, they're going to fail. So what about that friend that is ready, that's trying to learn and is seeking knowledge? That's different. That person is seeking knowledge. That is when you can step in and help. That is the only time it is okay to give any kind of advice to somebody, because if they're closed-minded, then you're going to cause resentment. Okay, so what is closed-minded, open-minded? Y'all hear that a lot, right? And a lot of people assume that open-minded means that you have the stance in life that you don't have a problem with people's sexuality. You don't have a problem with this. You don't have a problem with that. And closed-minded means you do. Yes and no, because I want to explain to y'all that I have always been the person, as long as you have a good heart, as long as you mean well and try in life, I'm not going to have an issue with you. I don't care what your sexuality is, what your race. I've got friends of all types because that's what makes life interesting and fun and not so blah. So that being said, really a real open-minded person that's fully open-minded is willing to change in life for the better. They're willing to step back and see the whole picture. They're willing to look into themselves, because you can be the person like I am, but at one point I was so closed-minded on myself. Does that make sense? So it might not be that they can be open-minded to the world, but unless you're open-minded with your own self as well, then you're not truly open-minded. So, oh, wow, y'all, this all gets deeper and deeper, doesn't it? It's kind of crazy. So basically, the whole point of tonight's episode is don't try to force people that are not ready, because all you're going to do is hinder them and push them away from you, so that whenever they are ready, you're not in their support group because you were trying when they weren't ready. Okay, if you really love somebody, Support them, talk positive, give small advice, ask questions that make them think. Y'all, that is always the best way to handle stuff like that. Ask them questions when they ask you questions because they're looking for something that's inside of them. Good luck out there. Remember to have grace for yourself. Remember to love yourself. And most of all, remember you're freaking awesome. Have a freaking awesome day. Peace out. I'll catch you next time when your story's not over. You're still writing it.